All right, we're live back at Expert35. Thank you for joining us. We've got 35 different industries, experts from each industry. We're talking about the challenges, the hardships, the opportunities. Please, tell your friends, share this so that people can know more about how to deal with all these different changes. Today, we have a great expert, Judy, talking about how the college entrance exams, how getting into college, how all of that is changing. So our admission experts, Judy, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, Gabriel. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, thank you for being here. Later on tomorrow, how to network in this new age with Jennifer Johnson. We're also going to talk about reopening, like elective surgeries. We're going to talk to an eye doctor, and then we're going to talk about liability. So we've got Jana talking a lot about how to reopen safely, but also, keep yourself covered. So it's going to be a really interesting, couple of episodes. But everybody's talking about it. Juniors are freaking out. Some seniors, in fact, our intern, he's going to Rice next year, and he's thinking like, well, what am I doing? Like, what do I need to do? Like, he took these AP exams, in our office, and it's a mess and it's scary. So tell us just how you got into this. Tell us a little bit about your background, and then we can get really deep into it.
And I call it my Eddie Murphy story. So I grew up in Jamaica, and I moved here with my family when I was, well, not here. I moved to Philadelphia with my family when I was 15, I guess. So I thought I was a sophomore. I would have been a sophomore back home, and they told me to sit in this French class, and I did. I sat wherever they told me. And then so I moved here like in August, in like September, they told me, hey, well, I realized I was a senior and applying to college. So I got into the University of Pennsylvania. Never heard of an Ivy League school, but the point is I realized, wow, this is a tremendous opportunity. And, I went back to Wharton, got my degree, but later on in life, stayed home with my girls and thought, this is really what I want to do. I want to help kids who may not have that information get to great colleges. So that's sort of my story. I got my college counseling certificate from Rice University, and I love what I do. Love helping kids. Do a lot of pro bono work, and obviously, work with kids here nationally and internationally, as a matter of fact. So
go Owls. Go Owls.
I'm not even going to talk about that. But you go.
No worries. If you want to follow Judy, text Expert49. I know we said 35, but we've got so many experts. 35 industries though. Expert49. If you want to follow us and learn more about how to be even an expert on the show, text Expert35 to the number on the screen. It's like, Judy, so interesting, right? I mean, I came to the US for a completely different reason and then had to learn the system. Thank God I had an older sister that was like perfect and kind of followed in her steps. But it's also, it's so challenging. And for my parents needing to understand the system, right? But I guess 101, what's the impact of these tests? These tests are being canceled, right? What should be looking out for?
So, what I like to tell people is there is opportunity and chaos. And I think that's very true right now. So the impact is that normally you'd have, most kids are going to need to take these tests maybe 3 times to get to their best score. So I would normally be telling people, do these tests, get them out of the way, before September, so you know what school you're, eligible for, where you're in line for. What will happen to a lot of kids who have not taken any tests is they may be taking their first test in September. So that has 2 implications. One is that you should be flipping it. Right now, you should be doing things like essays, right? Getting your everything together to apply to college because you can't test right now. However, having said that, you should be getting ready for tests and preparing for tests now, which is also something I helped kids to do. So prepare for tests, flip it and start on your essays now. And the impact is you're going to be very, very busy in the fall when you're also going to be testing and applying to colleges. So, and I guess I'll just weave this in here. Lots of schools are going test optional, but understand what that means. It means, hey, Gabriel, we're glad you applied. You don't have to send us your test scores, but if you have them, we'll probably look at them, and that would be helpful if they're great, right? So,
right. Well, so here's a great question. Jennifer's asked, what if your student isn't a good test taker? Is there something else colleges consider?
So yes, great question. So colleges, well, many colleges are holistic, like Rice, for example, Rice University. So they will consider everything. So they do look very, very strongly at your transcript. Have you had 4 years of great classes? You've challenged yourself with, APs and college level classes. So yes, and there are programs that are test optional. So that's a little different. That may be a different strategy that you want to use to consider schools that are test optional that may not put as much weight on that test score. But having said that, you have to have other markers. They will put more
You have to excel
on your academics, right? They won't say, oh, academics don't matter. They'll be looking very hard at your grades and your courses that you've taken, etc.
And we've been talking a lot about juniors, obviously, but Jan is asking, hey, her son's in 5th grade. When should they start preparing the college application process?
I hope you're sitting down. No, so I actually start working with kids in 7th grade, and let me explain to you why. I used to, most people work with kids when they're juniors, but the issue is in 7th grade is when they're starting to select the courses that either put them on track, or they'll find out, oh, wow, I guess I should have taken that class that would have led me to be able to take calculus in my senior year. So it's not really that you're preparing for college, but it's very important that you understand what's going to be important in the process early on. That's what I would say. That's why I start with them pretty early, 7th grade.
Oh, perfect. And then we got Maureen Norris. I have a daughter entering high school next year. And so she's starting to prepare her high school experience. Once she's settled in, is there anything we could do to have her start thinking about colleges? So, can't see the rest, but that's what he's asking.
Yes. So thanks for calling in, Moran. And that's a great question. So once she's settled in, I can't see the rest of the question. Is there anything we should think about?
To have her start thinking about colleges?
Yes, absolutely. You could be researching colleges. Many colleges will come to town, and I have to know you're going to a great high school, so you will probably have colleges coming to your school. So she should start taking a look at those colleges and all the things I just said. She should be starting to think about testing at that point, making sure her grades are in place. You want to make sure you're a good applicant, so you'll have lots of good choices. That's the real answer. That's what you want to do.
Great answer. What is the impact of these tests being canceled?
I love that question. So there will be, kids will have opportunities to test in the fall, I do believe. Mm-hmm. Colleges and the College Board, SAT and ACT, they're scrambling to try to figure out how do we put those tests out there and make it fair so kids can't cheat? And how do we make it reliable so colleges will consider them reliable tests? So there's opportunity and chaos. I keep saying that because the issue is colleges next year, Rice will still get, their class filled, Harvard, Stanford, all these schools will still be taking 2,000 kids. So the impact is that you still have to demonstrate that you were a strong student and capable of thriving in their environment and contributing. So what that means, you have to take advantage of the opportunities you have, right? What that probably means is keep getting good grades, keep challenging yourself. And that could include, hey, maybe I'll take a MOOC, an online class, right, through MIT or something, if I can't test. But the odds are you'll be able to test. So I would say, the bad news for you as a student is you have to stay very prepared so you're ready to jump through the window when it opens in terms of testing. That's what I would say.
Well, and this kind of leads right into that, right? Admission process is changing under COVID. So what changes? What are you seeing changing?
So great question. In one sense, the answer is colleges are still looking for the talented kids that will thrive and fit well in their environment. What that means is, here's what's not changing. So they're still going to be looking at your grades. If you have test scores, they're still going to be looking at those, right? They're still going to look at your extracurriculars, which we haven't talked about. I understand extracurriculars have been canceled, but I have a students are doing exciting things under COVID. I have one who's doing an online class and he got picked up by Fox News, right? So people are finding ways to demonstrate their passion and their area of interest. So schools are still going to be looking at the same things. And if you think about it, the application was always virtual. It's an online application, right? Sure. There was an in-person interview, but I'm sure any interviews they do could be done over Zoom because they always had to do that for international students, for example. So colleges are still looking for the same students. They're still having the same markers to identify them. What is a little different on the students' end is you have to be a bit more creative. Maybe think about different extracurriculars. You have to stay prepared because tests are being canceled. Sure. And you can't visit. So you have to find out you have to be more resourceful, right? But most colleges are offering something online where you can get to know their college. So it's a little more challenging for the students to try to demonstrate they are that right fit and to get the information they need. But the process itself is not exactly changing. Having said that, I do want to say colleges are very aware of the challenging circumstances, but they're still looking for those same kids. So it's about figuring out how you present yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, I'm on the REA board, or I've been on the REA board before, and we're becoming more aware that we're calling more and more people, and we're talking to them. We're trying to just kind of give them what the experience is like, give them a little bit of that, because they're not visiting, right? Jennifer has a great question. What after-school activities help with the college admission?
That's a great question, Jennifer. Thank you for asking that. So I would frame that differently. The answer is that, you could think of it as branding in this sense, right? Colleges really don't look for well-rounded students anymore. They look for a well-rounded class. So I need a great, flute player, and I need a great athlete over here. So if you are the kid who's, the science geek, wants to go to med school, you probably want to look at activities that demonstrate that and build your skills in that area, right? So, were we not locked down, you might be thinking of something where you're volunteering with a hospital. Now you might have to find something virtual. But I guess what I'm saying is it's aligned to where you're going and what is your brand, who you're trying to present yourself as to the college admissions folks.
Well, and I guess this almost goes in line. Christian's asking, does work actually count as extracurricular? And I guess you're saying it does if it shows your interest, right?
Well, okay, and that's a great and very specific question. So what I'll say is, understand, again, these colleges are looking at kids from all over the world, right? So yes, work counts as an extracurricular activity. They're trying to understand, who are you? What do you contribute to your community? What impact have you made in your community? So that could be work. That could be that you started, something that right now under COVID that's helping your community. They want to know, what impact have you had? Because that's going to tell me who you're going to be when you get to my campus. Because understand, they're kids who, they may be low income. They may be responsible for taking care of 3 kids. They're not going to say, oh, hey, well, why weren't you playing soccer? If you didn't have the money, if you didn't have the opportunity, if you had all the obligation. So they want to understand your whole picture. So it's much broader than just, is it work? Is it soccer?
Right.
What's your brand? What's your picture? What are you bringing to the campus?
And a question that's on everybody's mind is like, yes, these ISDs are going pass fail. How are the colleges then selecting students?
Again, that's a great question. So, colleges are very aware of that. So colleges are going to evaluate your students in context. And what that means is, the first cut is going to be, how are you doing in your high school? So if your high school is pass fail, you probably have a person assigned who understands, who's regional, who understands your high school, how they are, how they're doing pass fail. And remember, they'll have lots of other data points. Okay, so I don't have this semester's grades, but I have all of them leading up to this. They're still, if you do class ranking, the school is probably still doing that in some form. So again, they're still going to be looking at your academics. So they will probably just look at other ways of evaluating that, because you're really only talking about one semester here.
Right. Hopefully. Right.
Thinking positive here.
Super great information, Judy. My favorite part of the show, 3 things we can start doing right now.
So this applies broadly, across junior high and high school, but I'm especially speaking to juniors because that is who is kind of, right in the flames here. So the 3 things you should be doing right now: start on your essay. So flip that process. So you're starting on your college application. I would start on your test prep right now. Even though things may be canceled all the way through September, don't wait, because you don't know when that window is going to open and you want to be ready. And the third thing is, I would definitely be developing a college list for yourself, because you need to know where you're going so you understand timelines. College has gotten fairly complicated, lots of different deadlines, different types of applications. So those are the 3 things: test prep, your essays, and get your college list going.
Man, super great. The questions are blowing up. You've got your work cut out for you, Judy, because people are asking questions about their kids. People are asking about the grades. So timely, so important. I think you're actually probably calming some people, but you're also kind of like waking people up. And I think that's what this is about. It's like, hey, let's shake the cage a little bit. It's like, it's time to get on it, especially if you're a junior.
It is for
Yeah.
sure. And I have some offers, which hopefully you will help me announce. I have some special offers for people.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things we talked about offline was saying, man, it's $100 an hour to have tutoring one-on-one. And so obviously, you know, as an expert, you provide services one-on-one, but you also provide some sort of like a self-guided, right? SAT, ACT. What is that?
It's actually an online test prep. It covers full prep for SAT and ACT. Actually, it's really fabulous, developed by some Ivy League grads. So it's a really good system. And you know, if you do it, then you will see, you know, probably a 3-point pop in your. You'll get a good improvement. People don't know these numbers, but yeah, you'll get a good if you do the work, right? So if you have a kid who will sit down and do the work, and it's at a good deal, it's $199.
Text Expert49. You'll get access to that information, how to sign up for it, how to get, you know, also access to Judy. We're going to let her go into the notes, and she's going to put more resources. We didn't have time to talk about some of the resources, but we'll put those in the notes because there's some great resources out there as well. And especially
your essay. I will help you with your essay now, so you don't have to fight with your kids.
I love it. I mean, it's, you know, there was questions about, man, you know, is homeschooling better than regular schooling? We didn't even have time to get into that, but it was so important to say, like, homeschooling is better if you have the resources and you have the time, right? But we're so overtaxed that we really do need the schools open again, and they really do take a lot of incentive on. I think everybody's now respecting teachers in a different light now that they've seen how much work it takes to balance all these things. So great having you on the show, Judy.
My pleasure.
So great.
Have a happy space for yourselves, guys. Have a room where you can walk away and lock yourself in. Do what you tell your kids. Use your words. Walk away.
That's right. Thank you. We're going to let you go on the chat because you got a bunch of questions on there, and you know, we'll hopefully we want to see you back. There's just so many more questions and so many things we need to answer.
Oh, and they can always call me for a free consultation. We'll put that in there too. Ask me anything.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Guys, this is Expert35. Again, join us, text Expert35 to follow the conversation. We're going to have networking. We're going to have opening the electives. And we're also going to have how to manage your liability. So join us live on Expert35. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.